Alright guys, another episode of Average Mike here. As you see in the last video where I was showing you how to do the transmission fluid change. Transmission fluid change on my 2012 Dodge Durango. We found out that the driver's side CV joint looked like the boot had ripped open, grease came out, needs to be replaced. So I got the CV joint in the other day. Let's get this changed out. Okay guys, I'm gonna jack this up and get started. Alright, when you work with air tools, it's always a good idea to keep them lubricated. Make sure you do that every now and then. I don't know what the actual interval is, but I just throw a couple drops in there. Doesn't hurt. Keep them lasting long. Alright, we're going to try here to get the caliper off. Probably the hardest part here is trying to... If you're lucky, you'll get this axle nut off it pretty easily. It helps if you have an air tool like this. This is an Ingersoll Raid. I think it's how you pronounce it, Ingersoll Raid. It's supposed to have, I think, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque to remove. You know, impacting as well. So I've seen this thing do a lot. I wouldn't be surprised this comes off pretty easily, even though it was hard to do. Let's give it a whirl. Nice to have the right tools for the job. Alright, so a couple things we probably will have to do is remove at least the steering knuckle, the tie rod end here. Take that off, get that unseated there, and possibly also this upper control arm bolt. Yeah, that way we can turn it and pull it down at the same time. That way we can slide this axle nut out from the back, and then we should be good to go. Alright, so let's work on that. You guys probably seen me struggling over here. Give you an update. I did turn the camera off. I had a problem. I made the #1 rule, taking ball joints out. I didn't take the bolt all the way off. And before I popped the ball joint off. And I was doing that because I planned on hitting a hammer on the end here. I wanted to hit the end of the nut instead of, you know, the end of the bolt. Or the end of the ball joint, not to mess up any threads. The problem came when I ended up using a hammer. You saw it, using a hammer and just popping it that way, and it did pop off. Problem was, to get this nut off wasn't easy. I got bad lighting, but it wasn't easy nut was stuck, and then when I tried to, turn it off with the impact gun, it was just spinning the bolt, or the ball joint itself. So after probably about an hour trying to get it either reseated, get the fitting off, I ended up realizing that I've seen control arms here where they have a nut or something at the end of the stud here where you can put a wrench on to hold the stud and the ball joint while you use another wrench to get that nut off. But I did realize that there is an Allen key hole right under here that you can stick an Allen key in and use that to hold it while you twist the ball joint off. And if yours is going to be anything like mine, you better have a pretty strong Allen key, because it was on there really tight. The Allen key held up. I really didn't think it was going to, but it did. We got it off, and we can continue on. This ball joint is now loose. Hopefully we can get this control arm off, or the half shaft out. I may have to take this off. There's the bottom of the strut here. There's a nut on each side. I'm gonna try not to, but you might have to do it just to get it out, because I don't know if either side's gonna pass through that hole. So, all right, we're gonna continue on here. So what I need to end up doing, obviously this was pulled off earlier. This is the sway bar linkage. I had to pull that off, so this could come down even further and we can slip the skinny part of this bad boy. Slip this bar right between the strut mount here and the lower control arm. So you can see all this grease. Ugh. That's why this job is super messy if it already ripped on you. And then the other part here goes up in there. So let's get the new one and let's fit it up. Here's the new one. When you're dealing with these, you want to make sure that you compare the new one to the old one. Parts stores make mistakes all the time. You know, there's so many different variances, whether you have all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive. The front driver's side, the front passenger side are both different. Your car may have a rear passenger in front. There's so many variances. They're all different lengths and different styles. You want to make sure that your C-clip location here, this is where it locks into the transmission. You want to make sure that's in the same place. Any divot, indent, the length, overall length, your gear, your size of your splines here, you want to make sure they're all the same as the old one, or else you're going to have problems. So especially with the C-clip here, if you don't lock this C-clip in, what it'll do is it'll slide on you as you're driving. And trust me, I know somebody who, and it wasn't me, but I know somebody who didn't lock in. It didn't fully engage the C-clip, and when he started going, it was sliding, and ultimately it ended up stripping out the gears or the splines in the transmission. And obviously if that happens, you're most likely replacing the transmission. So you want to make sure you seat it, make sure you tug on it, make sure it doesn't come out, and then you can get going, put everything back together. So that's what we're going to do now. And I'm going to set this in place. I'm going to put some things back together. I'd really like to get that sludge out. I don't want that sitting there. So I'll get some paper towels and do that, and then slide this in and put everything back together. See how it goes. All right. Alright guys, saw me tug on that. We got it engaged, looks like. It ain't coming out unless I really pull on it, so that's what you want. So let's get this in, other side in here. Make sure everything's disconnected. Perfect. Just need to get the end in. I don't need to get it all the way in yet because that's the hardest part, getting the angle to get that in. So we're going to start with throwing in the shock mount tower. You want to use your jack to kind of get it leveled out. Now, sway bar link is just disconnected, and probably should have did that before we took out the shock tower bolt. It was a lot easier to get it through than having to bang it really hard. You still have to tap it a little bit, but we're good to go. sway bar linkage back in. Good. Don't want anything coming out. Obviously, these all have torque specs, most likely, but I don't have a torque wrench here, so it's actually at my dad's house. So I'm gonna put everything together, make sure everything's snug. We can turn around and torque it later. I do have to do the brakes soon, so if this wasn't my daily driver, I probably would just go run and get brakes, but I didn't want to get this done so that I can head to work in the morning. So we'll just snug everything for now, and we'll torque it when I do the brakes. Fair enough. Alright, so now I did find the bolt for the shock mount tower, or the nut, I'm sorry, the nut, and we'll get that buzzed in a second. I'm gonna connect the upper control arm now. This was the pain in the behind last time, so hopefully that goes okay. I'm gonna jack this up. Before we go any further, I'm gonna go ahead and put this nut on here. Looks like we're against there. Yeah, looks like we're good. So. Got the new nut. I want to make sure you use this new nut. This nut is most likely a lock nut. It's usually oblong on the end here. That way it won't come off on you. And you'll notice once I get to maybe not. Either way, you want to use a new nut regardless. Okay guys, again, you just want to make sure that air tools do a great job, but just want to make sure that all these have, they're not going to move on you. So, just want to make sure. Alright, before I put the tie rod end in, I'm going to tighten down this shock mount bolt that I found. Alright, that one's snugged up. Just again, make sure not going anywhere. That air gun's nice. a little bit pricey. It's a little pricey, but definitely worth it. It'll break a bolt off before it, doesn't do the job. And if it's gonna break, you're gonna break it with your hand more likely than with the gun. So definitely worth the money. So it's a good idea whenever you're working over here by the rotor here. You want to make sure that nothing dented this brake shield. The brake shield right really close to the rotor. You want to make sure, because otherwise that sucker's going to squeak on you. And we all know we don't want that, right? And tie rod, put the tie rod end in. I'm going to assume that it went around this way. Ultimately, this is how they align your car. I don't know, I guess that's a caster. I could be wrong, but that's how they keep both wheels straight. That's how they align it. So in theory, I should be going to get alignment now. That I may have messed that up, but that went in smoothly. I'm gonna pop this nut on here. So I threw the caliper back on, and I know you probably didn't see too much of that, but sorry about that. Got the nuts on there. Let's Alright guys, that's where I'm going to leave you. I did get the tire back on. I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't. Tire's back on, we pulled it out. I can't go for a test drive yet, I got to watch the kids. But I might take you along that test drive and see how everything is. Whenever you're messing with brakes, just be sure to, even though we only took the caliper off, put it back on, make sure you got pedal before you start moving. But other than that, it should be good to go. I turned the car on, there was no lights. I didn't, sometimes you jostle things around, maybe ABS light might come on, traction control, etc. But no lights, I think we're good to go. All right, till next time. All right guys, if you like what you saw, please go ahead and smash that like button. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that too. You can also turn on post notifications, that way we put out a new video. It comes right up on your screen there.
See you guys on the next video.